Hey, what's up, everybody? I want to make a comment about basic income, and not simply because Mark Zuckerberg has been talking about this. Anyone who has been following me for any length of time knows that this has been an idea that I have been talking about now for a very long time, and it's also really kind of one of the tenets of MMT, although we talk about it as a guaranteed job. But basic income is not only something that is just, I feel, it's something that you have to have, and I'll explain why. As the move towards greater and greater automation and, in fact, robotics, where we're going to reach a point soon where pretty much everything is going to be produced robotically. So, what you're going to have is equal or greater output uh, produced by robots, by machines. And then the question is, who is going to share in that output? So you'll have greater abundance, okay? So is that just for the people who control the robots? And there's a larger issue here. I think, if you want to make an argument that, Mike, you're just going with some kind of a sympathy argument or something like that. No, because if the people don't have the means, the financial means to consume all that abundance, all that output, then eventually the output crashes. Okay, you're not gonna. It's not gonna go on, continue producing if people do not have the means to consume what is being produced. So there is a very real and important reason and necessary reason to ensure that there is sufficient income to consume the greater and greater output that comes about as a result of automation and robotics and technology, etc. Now you have to be careful with that to the point where you can't provide so much income that not just the abundance is whittled away or consumed, but that all the resources of the planet are depleted. And particularly, you really have to think about things like water and that sort of thing. But I am 100% in favor of guaranteed basic income. It's going to be necessary. If you don't have it, you are going to very quickly get into a situation where production is going to collapse. You will have lack, okay? And that is because nobody will have a sufficient amount of income to consume what is being produced. So basically, one thing supports the other. You don't even have to go along with me on the fairness argument. I believe that's a very strong argument as well. But even if you want to strip away the fairness argument, there has to be income to consume what is produced. Otherwise, the production of those goods and services will collapse basically to zero or very close to zero. So, yes, I am in favor of guaranteed basic income. I have been in favor of that for a very long time, way before Mark Zuckerberg. Who knows, maybe he reads what I write or he listens to what I say. I doubt it, but you never know. But anyway, that is my answer to that. All right, I definitely wanted to put that out there. Someone also asked a question, because I said that there is no solvency risk at all with the Chinese bank situations because they lend in RMB, so it's functionally like deficit spending. But somebody said, well, isn't there a downside? Is there any downside? Yeah, it's the same downside as you would have in deficit spending if you did that to a very high degree, you can create inflation, and that is something that is a negative. So you have to be careful about that. But on the flip side, we always have this argument about inflation. Inflation, on the flip side of that, austerity or the lack of enough fiscal support, you got deflation, which means income's going down, which means asset prices going down, which means people out of work. And, you can't argue that, hey, prices going down is good because we can afford more of that thing. No, because incomes go down even more. So it's a choice. You try to get it in the middle. If you push too much on the austerity, that's bad. If you push too much on the deficit spending, that's bad. But you try to, get it at some point where there's an equilibrium and you have a positive result and everybody's living at a higher standard of living. So there is no risk of insolvency ever when you're talking about a country that is spending in its own currency, as China is, and as the banks lend in their own currency. There is absolutely, so Moody's is way off on this. They're wrong. They're idiots like all the rating agencies. I bought treasuries when S&P downgraded, and I think at that time the 10-year yield was like over 3%. I mean, I bought treasuries like crazy. The 10-year eventually went down to what, 1.3 or something like that after the downgrade. So, and they're still doing this stupidity. You could see they're still doing this stupidity. But that's Wall Street. What do you want? What do you expect? Bye.